Hey y'all, I'm Jerdy, and in this video, we're going to go over the Lillian Voss encounter in the Scarlet Enclave raid in Season of Discovery. Lillian Voss is the 7th and penultimate boss in the Scarlet Enclave, and provides a challenge mainly for your tanks and healers. Although Lillian Voss herself does not have very many mechanics, she is joined by what appears to be a mind-controlled Putress, and classic WoW players should be familiar with Putress. And just in case you forgot who he was,
did you think we had forgotten? Did you think we had forgiven? Death to the scourge and death to the living!
there's your reminder. Now, what I'm going to do differently on this video versus my past videos is I'm not going to go over the mechanics and then how to do the mechanics separately. Because there's not really a lot to explain here, I'm just going to do it all in one section. First, let's go over Lillian Voss's mechanics. It should be mentioned first, outside of her abilities, that she swings very fast. She has around a 0.25 swing timer, so she will melt your tanks if they are not healed. She has 3 main abilities: Debilitating Strike, Ambition, and Scarlet Grasp. Debilitating Strike is the main tank and healer mechanic of this encounter. The tank with threat will get hit by Debilitating Strike twice. Each strike requires 20,000 healing to be done before the tank can receive any actual healing. So since you're struck twice with this, it's a total of 40,000 healing before receiving any heals. There are 2 ways to handle this ability. You can either taunt swap on Debilitating Strike, or you can just out heal the 40,000 HP before the tank dies. Both have pros and cons and are dependent on your raid size and ability. The pro to the taunt swap is that the target getting hit by Lillian Voss after the taunt swap does not have the debuff. The con is that you're now splitting your heals because you need to still heal the tank with the debuff in order for him to taunt the boss back when the next strike goes out. The pro to not taunt swapping and healing through it is that you're only healing one target and you don't have to split healing. The obvious con is that you're trying to keep a target alive while he can't be healed. And there will be 2 situations where you'll always taunt swap no matter what, and I'll go over that when we get there. Next, we have Ambition. Lillian Voss will gain a stack of Ambitious Pursuit, which is a 5% haste buff for every 10% total health missing from players. It is very important that your healers know their assignments here. Who is going to focus mainly on the tanks and who is going to focus on the raid when raid-wide damage goes out. There's not a lot of mechanics that involve raid-wide damage, but when there is, the healers that have to heal the raid should know who they are to avoid Ambition from stacking. So with Putress, I'm going to call these his potion mechanics, and he has 4 potion mechanics. The first one is Noxious Poison. Think of this like the Grobulus mechanic. It'll put a disease on players, and when expired or dispelled, will drop a large pool of slime on the ground. Unlike Grobulus though, this does not grow over time. But do not be trigger friendly when you see that disease on your decursive. The best way to handle this is to either go to the edge of the garden or a corner of the hallways outside the garden and drop the poison. You might think to drop it in the 4 entrances to the outer hallway, but we're not going to drop it there because another one of Putress' mechanics is going to be dropped there instead. Intoxicating Venom applies a stacking slow debuff that eventually fully immobilizes the target when they reach 5 stacks unless they're moving throughout the 6-second duration. The instant reaction for players on this debuff is to keep moving non-stop, but you don't have to do that, and you shouldn't do that if you are a hard caster like Holy Paladin or Mage. You can get off a cast and then move before freezing. Yes, you want to prioritize surviving, but especially if you're a healer, you still want to make sure those heals are going off on the tanks. Ignite. This is a raid-wide damage debuff applied to everybody in the raid, doing fire damage every second for 15 seconds. This was nerfed, so it's not as bad, but it's still something that needs to be taken seriously, mainly because it's diverting healing off of your tanks onto the raid. The best way to help mitigate this is everybody should pop a frozen rune before the encounter starts and make sure that your cooldown is up during Ignite to pop another one. This will save a lot of healing that has to be done and can help keep your tanks alive. Ignite and Intoxicating Venom are the 2 mechanics that if they go out, you will always want to do a taunt swap with Debilitating Strike. It is too much healing and moving for your healers for you to try and survive it by solo taking that debuff. And last, there's Unstable Concoction. 4 players will be targeted with a 7-second debuff, casting a giant circle around them, and when that timer runs out, will deal around 2,000 damage to those players, but will also damage others who are in their circle. It's ideal ideal that nobody else gets hit by this, as it will buff Lillian Voss even more through ambitious pursuit. Players will have 7 seconds to find their spot to get away from others. However, every time Unstable Concoction is casted, Lillian Voss will cast Scarlet Grasp. Scarlet Grasp is a 4-second cast. Unstable Concoction lasts 7 seconds. So once everybody is sucked into the middle, the players with Unstable Concoction will have 3 seconds to get out of the raid before it goes off. During the time of Lillian Voss casting Scarlet Grasp, the players with Unstable Concoction should go to where they're going to go after the suck-in happens, so the others with that debuff also know where to go, and nobody conflicts and runs on top of each other. So now let's go over the fight from start to finish. Before you pull, you could actually spread out across the hallways and pre-position your casters on where they want to go. You can even mind soothe Lillian Voss to get into the garden area without pulling her. Because Lillian Voss hits so fast and has that tank debuff with debilitating strike, having rolling cooldowns throughout the entire encounter is very smart here. I would advise saving your strongest defensive cooldowns like pain suppression, paladins divine protection, warrior's shield wall for when debilitating strike occurs during either intoxicating venom or ignite, as your healers are going to be either incapacitated or split healing you and the raid. Tanks. On pull, you want to pull Lillian Voss in the center of the room where she's already at to give your raid more space for Ignite, Noxious Poison, and Unstable Concoction. Having a defensive weak aura, which I'll link mine in the description below, is very helpful so you know when to call out for your next one. Sometimes Lillian Voss will cast Debilitating Strike during her Scarlet Grasp and Unstable Concoction. During Scarlet Grasp and Unstable Concoction, she does not move from where she is at. So if she's casting Debilitating Strike, it will hit her closest target, meaning it can hit a DPS player and not your tanks if the tanks move out of the way. Debilitating Strike does not kill a player if they're hit by it. So it's a cheeky little way to avoid the tank getting hit by this debuff. Tanks. This is the fight where you put on your stamina and mitigation gear. Your personal DPS does not matter on this encounter. Anything to boost your damage reduction, your health is what you're going to wear on this encounter. Target dummies can help you a lot on this fight, especially if for some reason your off tank cannot taunt or you just need to get the boss off you for a little bit. You can also have the target dummy eat the debilitating strike in case you know you're going to have healing troubles when it's going off. For Noxious Poison, it really is in the entire raid's best interest if your DPS players who can cleanse a disease do it instead of your healers, because your healers are focusing everything they got on the tanks. Red Paladins, once again, I'm looking at you. And the last thing I'm going to mention on this encounter is that this is a healer-focused fight. I've mentioned that before, but if you as healers do not have assignments on who's focusing the tanks and who's focusing the raid when raid-wide damage goes out, your tanks will fall over. You cannot just play whack-a-mole with your raid frames on this encounter, or your tanks will fall over. But that's it for me, you guys, on this fight. Once you can survive Debilitating Strike with Intoxicating Venom and Ignite, you will defeat this encounter in no time. It's not a long fight, but does require your full focus. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know if it helps. Leave a comment down below and like if you enjoyed this. Leave a comment also if there's more stuff you think I can add to this video so other people can get more information. As always, thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Follow me on twitch.tv/dirtyjd, and I will see y'all in my final video in this series with Grand Crusader Caldoran.